Thank you very much. Habari ya asubuhi. The Honorable District Commissioner of Ilala, my colleague from the UNHCR, Chamsa, government officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Ninafurahi kuungana nani asubuhi hii na ninapenda kuwashukuru She.E kwa kunikaribisha. Ni furaha kubwa kuona wanawake wengi wameweza kufika hapa. Ninapata hamasa ninapoona kuwa tunatengeneza fursa pamoja ambazo zinatuwezesha kubadilishana uzoefu na kuweza kusaidiana. So you may wonder why I started in Swahili when you all speak much better English than I speak Swahili. It's a little bit to make a point that if you stay in your comfort zone, you never get any better. So if I don't start speaking Swahili and put myself out there, then it's never going to get any better. So thank you for letting me practice a little bit. So we're here today not just because we believe that societies are stronger and wealthier when women and men are treated equally. We're also here because we believe that the path to industrialization for any nation, not just Tanzania, involves unleashing the potential of women entrepreneurs and leaders. Globally, there has been a lot of progress towards gender equality, but that progress is too slow, way too slow. 130 million girls around the world are out of school. 650 million women alive today were married as children. The global wage gap is a staggering 23%. Women occupy only 24% of parliamentary seats, thankfully higher in Tanzania. And women own only 13% of the world's agricultural land. In Tanzania and elsewhere, women are more likely than men to be poor and illiterate, and less likely to have access to training and credit. It is in this context that Canada launched a feminist international assistance policy in 2017. And that basically means that all of our international assistance is targeted at eliminating barriers to equality so that the lives of the poorest and most vulnerable are improved. So empowering women and girls to become equal participants in an inclusive, prosperous, and safe society is at the heart of Canada's priorities in Tanzania. Here are efforts focused on areas critical to women, such as healthcare, education, and economic empowerment. Tanzania wants to industrialize and to develop a modern economy, and we in the international community are here to support Tanzania in achieving those laudable goals. But is it possible for Tanzania to achieve these goals while not giving an important role to women? I think the answer is obviously no. Gender equality and women's empowerment are essential to grow the economy and the middle class. Research has shown that when more women work, economies grow. A 2015 global study found that US $12 trillion could be added to global GDP by 2025 simply by advancing women's equality. If Tanzania wants to accelerate its development progress in order to achieve industrialization by 2025, unlocking the potential of women to contribute is needed. Women make up over 65% of the informal sector in the country. Their activities, since they are unregistered and most are home-based, are often hard to organize, support, and grow. One of the solutions to address this is a bottom-up approach through networks and support programs that improve employment opportunities and earnings for women. We must also work top-down to reduce the barriers to women's engagement by addressing market and institutional failures such as legal and fiscal impediments. To further both bottom-up and top-down approaches, Canada provides funding to a number of initiatives aimed at helping women-owned or led enterprises. And I'm going to give a few examples, mainly to give an idea of the different types of things that could be done and the different types of opportunities that there are to make progress. So we have one project that is strengthening small business value chains, and a Canadian NGO works with 30 firms, of which 40% are women-owned or led, And these firms are identified as competitive, market-driven, profit-oriented, and socially conscious small growing businesses. Earlier this week, the project produced a photo book entitled Women Who Dared. And the objective of this photo book is to promote gender equality in a creative way by encouraging other women to follow their dreams and showcasing the stories of Tanzanian women who dared to engage in business activities and to challenge traditional gender norms in their communities. Another Canadian initiative is the Tanzania Local Enterprises Development Project, and this project aims to enhance equitable and sustainable economic growth and prosperity for women and men through increased sustainable employment in small and medium-sized enterprises. In 2018, the project enrolled and trained a total of 602 SMEs, of which 57% are women. One of our long-term partners in Tanzania, the Financial Sector Deepening Trust, has recently launched a gender strategy addressing key constraints to women's market access. Finally, and more recently, we announced our support to Ndoto Hub for women entrepreneurs. Created a year ago, Ndoto Hub is the only business incubator in Tanzania dedicated to young women entrepreneurs, and we're very proud to support it. The Hub offers support through mentoring, coaching, and life skills training, as well as providing collaborative workspaces. It also uses technological platforms to reach young women. All this to make sure that young women entrepreneurs will be well prepared to submit funding requests to financial institutions, which is currently an essential barrier for women to enter business. Often ignored as an economic issue, I would be remiss if I did not mention the importance of access to sexual and reproductive health services. A woman's right to make choices about her own body is a human rights issue, but it is also important to the economy. When girls start having babies in their teens, it affects their health, reduces their access to education, and impacts their employment options, which in turn reduces the economic output of the country. Not to mention the fact that early pregnancies often result in a poverty trap that gets passed on to the next generation. We may not like to acknowledge that teenage girls have sex, but it is a fact that some do so willingly, many are forced or coerced into it, and many are married in their teens. With all the negative repercussions on education and economic prospects, it's an important issue to consider in seeking women's empowerment. A recent study on the cost of gender inequality determined that human capital wealth could increase by 21% globally and total wealth by 14% with gender equality in earnings. Women typically have lower earnings because of lower labor force participation, fewer hours worked, and lower pay. Obviously, having children factors into this, particularly as it affects the amount of time spent in unpaid work and the types of jobs a mother may be willing to take. For example, they might not want to travel to another city to take a job. I'm not saying don't have children. I would never say that. I am saying that women and girls should have services available so that they can make informed decisions on whether or not to have children, when to have them, with whom, and how many. In most cases, women are unequally represented and under-acknowledged in their efforts of making the world a better living place. I would encourage women to form and join business associations to have a united voice, share experiences through collaboration, like will happen here today, training and transferring knowledge. Women's economic empowerment boosts productivity, increases economic diversification and income equality, in addition to other positive development outcomes. Research has shown, and it was already mentioned once today, that having more women in senior management positions leads to better organizational performance. So why then are companies not hiring more women? And once they're hired, why aren't they advancing to the top management level? Now, my thoughts on this could take all day, but I want to boil it down to three things. One is cultural norms. Two is unconscious bias in hiring and promotion opportunities. And the third is women's own belief in their ability. So you can influence the first two, but the last one is entirely within your control. So too often I have seen women not apply for jobs for which they were eminently qualified because they assumed that others were more qualified, or they thought they did not perfectly match all the competencies sought. One company's internal report noted that men apply for a job when they meet only 60% of the qualifications, but women apply only if they meet 100% of them. So you're taking yourself out of the running. Don't do that to yourself. You need to focus on what you do well, promote that ability, and believe that you can do the job, because you can. You are the leaders, you're the ones who can change the culture so that everyone has an equal opportunity. The world is changing, and you can set an example for other young women to follow, but also for young men. Men need to understand that an empowered woman is not a threat, but someone who can work with them to improve the community and the country. If we encourage a positive dialogue, I think we'll see a change to men treating women with more respect and being willing to give them a chance. My final word for the ladies, sadly, yes, we do live in a sexist world, and many people will try to limit your options and keep you in what they consider to be your place. Your place is wherever you want it to be. You have the right to choose what is good for you, if that's having 10 children or being an aeronautical engineer, or maybe both at the same time because women are really good at multitasking. You can do it. Work hard, believe in yourself, think big, and go for it. And I just want to reiterate the points that you already made this morning about the importance of networking, planning, prioritizing, adapting, and reinvesting in the community and supporting each other. So you can do it. You can be the change. Asante sana.